Good afternoon and welcome into High Top Sports Network for this presentation of WPIAL softball. My name is Joe Rhodes, joining you today for this matchup between the home Armstrong Riverhawks and the visiting Indiana Indians. Glad to be here with you. Beautiful day, literally perfect conditions for a softball game. I myself was taking in the golf earlier at the one and only official golf club of High Top Sports Network, that of course Bird's Foot Golf Club in Freeport. Make sure you stop out there these coming days. Absolutely tremendous job by the green staff. Travis, the owner, Trevor, the head pro, just has that place in mid-season form, as you could say. As for the contest in front of you, Madison Baker once again in the circle for the Riverhawks. First pitch in there, a ball. Riverhawks come in with, again, just a lone blemish on their record, the loss to Penn Trafford. The only thing in the loss column for the Riverhawks. This one foul back behind the backstop for strike one. Madison Baker, of course, having an excellent year in the circle for the Riverhawks. Last performance that I got to see here, she pitched 4 innings, just 1 hit, no walks. That's the category you love to see a zero in. And I believe it was 6 strikeouts, if my memory serves me correctly. So Madison Baker really just stepping in this ace role that she is now in and doing quite a good job with it. And with that, Abby Bauer, her battery mate, really completing that this little duo you have, of course, having to replace Cam Sprankle and Bella Atherton, along with the entire outfield. These Riverhawks have done an excellent job filling in. You're never going to assistant coach at West of this first inning will reach. But to kind of wrap up my point there, this Armstrong team doing an excellent job having to replace those seniors and those long-standing starters. An attempt will go foul. That's Cummings on first. And Stossel at the dish for the Indians. I'd like to say no longer little. They shed the Little Indians title, and they're just the Indians. This might be right here trying to distract me from how many tasks I have here. Bunt this time again, tried to lay down by Stossel, but on the wrong side of the third base line for strike 2. Not a windy day here. Typically, for those that have been here ever or any time in the past, it's typically a pretty windy atmosphere up here atop the hill in Buffington Drive. But today, not the case, as Baker throws a ball. Or excuse me, that's strike 3 in the outside corner. Not a very emphatic signal by the gentleman in blue behind the plate, but strike 3 nonetheless. Backwards K, the Steffi's Country Catering backwards K. So I'd like to take the opportunity to thank today's official broadcast partner and scoreboard sponsor, AIA, Armstrong Indoor Athletics. Bauer paying attention to that runner at first base. She's come out of that crouch position a couple times, as she does there very briefly. Keep Cummings honest at first. Now it's Olivia Zimmerman batting third, the excellent pitcher. Back healthy for the Indians. Just a huge, crucial part of this team, both at the dish batting third and, of course, in the circle. And that one is going to drop foul. Bauer couldn't corral it. That one hung up there for a while, and Zimmerman will live to see at least another pitch. Also want to thank Ryan Bowser State Farm, another one of our tremendous Day One sponsors. Love you, Ryan. Appreciate your support as always. Those day ones, they mean a ton to us. Let's do all of our sponsors. Zimmerman rips that one foul. Top of the first inning here. A little non-classification, I guess you could say, matchup. Not just a non-conference, but two teams in different classifications. Called the 422 rivalry. Stretch of road that connects Indiana to where we are here in lovely Manor Township. Diving attempt, but foul. So Zimmerman now twice as a Riverhawk player. She's living dangerously, as they say, but she'll gladly take it, get the extra cuts, and give an opportunity to Cummings up at first base. Baker pitch on its way high. This one ripped hard down the left field line, but foul into the batting cage. Long at bat by Zimmerman. 2-2 the count. One down. Here's the pitch by Baker. Swing and a miss. Nice job there by Madison Baker, who was able to battle back despite the two possible out opportunities in that at bat and come back and strike out Zimmerman. Swinging. I'd like to also thank today's player of the game sponsor, Nicola Ann Photography. Just the best work. We have a lot of good photographer friends around here, believe you me. It's very talented people that we are fortunate to know here at High Top Sports Network that do photography. Nicola Ann, my oh my, is certainly one of them. Rated one of the top photographers in Western Pennsylvania by the Post-Gazette, with offices in Lawrenceville and here in Katanning. Now at the plate after the strikeout of Zimmerman is Hamilton. Obviously her first time in the box here, this being the top of the first inning. This Armstrong Indoor Athletics Game Day presentation on High Top Sports Network. That one just missing a hair outside. Bauer tried to frame it, but the call goes in favor of the Indians, who are down to their final out. This one hit down the right field line, another opportunity, but a gentleman there trying to make the barehanded catch. Nearly does, but he gathers it in, fires it back, and hits the relay man. Well done. So Baker here with a runner at second base, trying to leave them stranded and end things here with Hamilton, who looks at a ball. .21 pitches. Here's the 22nd. And this one's ripped hard in right field, rounding third base, and scoring was Cummings, and Indiana jumping out to a rare 1-0 lead over the Riverhawks. Armstrong, as you might imagine, with just one blemish on their record, jumping out the leads on their opponents. In this instance, the Indians able to put one on the board here with two down, so some clutch hitting there by Hamilton. Extends the inning. Brings up Myers. Baker fires in a strike. This one hit down the left field line, but will land on the other side of the fence and be out of play for a strike. And that will end things there. Strikeout by Baker will end the top half of the first inning here at Armstrong Junior Senior High School. This Armstrong Indoor Athletics Game Day on High Top Sports Network. Indiana cracking the scoreboard first with a run and an RBI single by Hamilton. Excited to be here with you. After 27 holes of golf today, boy oh boy, if you weren't outside doing something of the sort, be it golf or just any kind of leisure activity, you missed a good day. It's been absolutely gorgeous. Temperature's perfect. The sun out. Not a cloud in the sky right now, and it's absolutely pristine conditions. I know you've heard broadcasts this time of year and maybe the few weeks earlier in the season where we've been amongst the elements. Josh Schreckengoss last year, I know, had a tent a tent lift up around him and smack him in the old noggin. That's spring in Pennsylvania for you. But this year in particular, and really our winter was rather dry and warm. The spring following suit. So Rocks will come to bat for the first time. Head coach Keith Schaefer down there at third base. Emma Paul leading off. Number 5. If you've watched Riverhawks softball the last few years, typically you recognize number 5 batting that 2-hole, but with the graduation of Emma Smerick, Emma Paul getting bumped up. Certainly one of the WPIAL's best players, best hitters. And I would put my name on this one, best defensive shortstop. Some of the throws we've seen her make over the last 4 years have been nothing short of spectacular. As she looks at strike 1. So 1-0 Indiana. First batter of the bottom half of this first inning for the Riverhawks. Emma Paul looks at ball. Good eye there by the Riverhawks shortstop. Stossel on the mound for the Indians. Throws a little off speed, but that one unable to catch the bottom half of the zone. Two balls, one strike. Stossel gets in position, fires home high out of the zone. One thing, Emma Paul's very patient, great eye at the plate. She's not that speed of hers and just general athleticism. She'll gladly take the walk and let her legs do the talking and necessarily not her bat. But this time she's going to rope it perfectly between the shortstop and third baseman. Paul just finds a way to get on base. And that hitter-friendly count, not afraid to swing away and drive the ball nicely between the third baseman and shortstop to lead things off here for the Riverhawks in this non-section matchup. Thanks to all you for tuning in on this truly beautiful day. First pitch, swinging this one, driven deep over the head of the outfielder. Paul's going to round second. Brzezinska with another hit. She's done such an excellent job stepping into the starting role this year. She stands at second base. Emma Paul stands at third. Still no one down here in inning number 1. Good piece of hitting there. No chance for the outfielder to track that one down. She was on her horse, but that's not enough as Brzezinska put that one right into the right center field gap. Now Shelby Cloak, senior third baseman, stands in. 2 runners in scoring position. Off speed, very slow, but outside for ball 1. Cloak on the hot corner, wearing number 12. Another one of those excellent defensive pieces. Obviously, we know what Shelby can do at the plate. Just a great hitter. Very consistent. Had a great playoff run last year, as I mentioned in the last broadcast, but the glove and the arm right there alongside the bat. Chops this one towards Coach Keith Schaefer, makes an excellent play going to his right, throws on the run. Coach Schaefer, and not just midseason for him, he's ready for the playoff push. Great job there by Coach Schaefer. Another one of those players that don't get enough, or individuals don't get enough credit for their defensive ability. Coach Schaefer. This one low, just missing. Good eye there by the third batter of this inning, Shelby Cloak, who stands in with Emma Paul at third base and Presenica at second. Count 3-1. And Cloak rips this one similar to where Paul did, right between the third baseman and shortstop. Presenica down to third. Paul scores, and the Riverhawks tie this game up at 1-all here in the first inning. Still no one down. You just had to guess that the Riverhawks didn't like being behind on the scoreboard, and you see how quickly they're able to notch things up at one apiece, and still, again, no one down, runners at the corner. And one of the more dangerous hitters in the WPIAL coming to the plate in the form of Jesse Pugh. As I often bring up on the broadcast, and Josh Schreckengoss does too, one of the more mammoth home runs we've ever seen in person in a softball game. This one chopped high, safe at third, and Pugh will scamper down to first base easily. Man, oh man, got to give credit to the Indiana third baseman. That play brought her into Presenica at third, stays with it, but by that point, Pugh had already motored down to first and loaded the bases up. And now Abby Bauer with my favorite of the walk-up songs. Of course, The Thrill by one and only Pittsburgh kid, Wiz Khalifa. I like to reminisce about the time I went to Slippery Rock, of course, and Wiz Khalifa came there in concert, and opening for him was a young guy, still kind of up and coming. Nobody really knew who he was. He had a song on MLB The Show that year. Part of that soundtrack. That guy's name was J. Cole. And for those that enjoy the hip-hop music, like myself, J. Cole certainly grew from that time. One of the best in the game, as they say. This one hit in the infield. Foul territory, though, and a little bit of a mix-up there, it seems, between Zimmerman and the catcher. They both kind of look at each other as it drops in between them, and the Riverhawks gave Indiana, particularly Zimmerman, some extra cuts in the top of this inning. Not able to corral some of her foul balls. Now Armstrong getting the benefit of such. Bauer stands in. Still no one out. Bases loaded. One across already. Emma Paul scoring on the hit by Shelby Cloak. Pugh hit that. And this ball is going to be coming right towards us here. It is off the top of the fence, missing a grand slam by literally inches. Was Abby Bauer. Give that one a ride. Was all over it. And two more Hawks will score. Abby Bauer throws her hands up with a smile, though. Wishing that one found a way to climb just probably 4 more inches. Get up over that tall fence here in left center field. But instead she'll have to settle for the single that brings home 2. Presenica scoring along with Cloak. So now Natalie Ziegler will stand in. Again, still no one out. 3 across for the Riverhawks, 2 on base, 1 in scoring position. Pitch on its way outside for ball 1. So a tough start here for Stossel. Riverhawks making good contact here. Really nothing cheap off the bats of the Riverhawks. Paul with that Hard hit ball between third and short. Cloak with one there as well. Pugh with that hard slapper that bounced hard off the ground and allowed her to get down to first base. And then Bauer a moment ago almost hitting a grand slam off the very top of the fence here in left field where I'm situated. It was kind of heading right for me. Would have liked a souvenir. This one chopped towards short. Throw to third. Good job there by the shortstop to get the lead runner in the form of Pugh. So one down now, still two on, and at least got the lead runner out for the Indians, who trail 3-1. Klingensmith now will come to the dish, looking to make her mark in this one. This one's going to be deep. This one's going to be off the fence once again. Rounding third and scoring was Sturgeon, I believe. And the Riverhawks tack on yet another one. Again, nothing cheap from the Riverhawks offensively here so far. Hard hit balls, the story. And making their way right through the order here in the first inning are the Riverhawks. Stossel having a tough time dealing with these red-hot Riverhawks bats. Stossel fields that one, throws off the bag. Zimmerman able to stretch and tag the bag for out number 2. Runners do advance, so now 2 in scoring position. And rounding out the order, as I mentioned, a 9th hitter in the Riverhawks array of batters, Madison Baker, looking to help her own cause. Shout out to Squirt, as I always do during broadcasts. Love me some Squirt. Whoever thought of making a grapefruit pop was using their old noggin that day. Big fan of Squirt, even when it's warm. High chopper here, foul, and out of play. Baker early on that swing. Really, Baker's done a nice job allowing that bat of hers to complement the excellent numbers she's been able to achieve on the mound, or rather in the circle, I should say. Baker, 2 in scoring position. You know, Baker would love to not leave 2 stranded. Well, the pitcher always most likely candidate that doesn't want to leave anyone stranded. There she looks at a strike, though. Stossel able to battle back. Second pitch low. Hamilton, who came up with that big hit a few moments ago for the Indians, doing a nice job of corralling the low pitch from Stossel. Now we sit at a full count. Steffi's Country Catering full count right at the third baseman. High throw, but Zimmerman able to reach for it and get the final out. But Armstrong does indeed inflict some damage on the Indians, who did score first. He scored 1 in the top of the first inning, but the Riverhawks able to score 4. And that's where we are as we head into the second inning. Score Armstrong 4, Indiana 1 here on this Armstrong Indoor Athletics game day. Sorry about that. We disconnected, it looked like briefly. But I play more than 18 these days, especially in warmer conditions, and I stupidly did not pack any fluids. It's really using my brain, but a little bit on the slower side. Swing and a miss. Second out, a victim of the strikeout, just as the first was, and Armstrong just like that. Now with an opportunity to set the Indians down in order here in the top half of inning number 2. Leading 4-1. And Madison Baker cruising as the first pitch She throws to the third batter of this inning, called a ball. Center, Presenica in left, Toy in right. The usual cast of characters in the infield. You have Pewitt first, Klingensmith second, Paul short, Cloak third. And of course, the battery, Abby Bauer and Madison Baker. Carnival, the batter for Indiana, swing and a miss. Baker with 38 pitches thus far. She's working an inning and 2/3 at the moment, trying to induce a swing and shut the door on this second inning for the Indians and get her Riverhawks right back in the box where they were just a few moments ago. This one fouled away. Good job by Anna Carnival. I think I'm saying that right. Sure hope so. Anna, I apologize if I'm not. Carnival. High in the zone. Carnival thought about swinging, but she holds off, and smartly so, because the ball is the verdict. Now a full count. Steffi's Country Catering full count. Get your grub on. Steffi's Country Catering. This one flared down the line and foul. Toy gave it a look, but that one able to drop in there and extend the at-bat for Carnival. Count remains full. Baker looks into her battery mate Bauer, fires. This one popped up, flared. Pugh's going to give it a look, but that one's going to hit the top of the away dugout and land foul. So Carnival just kind of battling here, putting bat on ball and waiting for her pitch. While Baker's trying to set the team from down Route 422 in order. It's Carnival a third straight foul to remain alive and count sitting at 3-2. Steffi's Country Catering full count. Get your grub on. Sunday specials. Check them out. This one hit towards Paul. Should be routine. She fires on. Pugh doesn't even have to move the glove. Paul throws a dart over to her fellow senior for out number 3. So the Indians do indeed go down in order 1, 2, 3 as we head to the bottom of the second inning, and Armstrong leading 4-1. I mentioned Steffi's Country Catering a moment ago. Obviously, a lot of people planning grad parties and things of the sort, summer festivities. You got some great holidays. I'm a big fan of the summer holidays because it's warm, of course, and you can have some fun outside gatherings. And you think like bonfires this time of year. I do, at least. And cold pop, things of the sort. You know, it's a great place to get your food for, whether it's maybe a Memorial Day party, a 4th of July party, or again, graduation parties. Steffi's Country Catering is the go-to stop for those different events. Certainly, High Top Sports Network, some big news on the horizon. We're going to be releasing some information tomorrow about something upcoming. And it, too, has deals with Steffi's Country Catering. Only hint you get. That's it. But very exciting news, so make sure you're paying attention to our social media pages tomorrow. High Top Sports Network, Facebook, Instagram. We really don't do the X anymore. Elon Musk really screwed that one up. Thanks, Elon. Some weird stuff whenever you open X now. They try to put content on there that they think you'd be interested in, and not gonna lie, the stuff that I see when I first open that is nothing I'm interested in. It's some gruesome stuff. So again, Elon, maybe pump the brakes, bud. Just give us back our Twitter. Paul looks at strike one, steps out, looks at third base coach, also the head manager, Keith Schaefer, and steps back in. Does the senior in her second at bat. Reached on a hard hit single between the shortstop and third baseman. Slow off-speed pitch by Stossel. Falls out of the zone before it gets to Paul for the ball. 1-1 the count. Armstrong already with 6 hits. Paul wants to make it 7 here. She hits a little bit below the ball there, and it goes flying back towards the high school for a foul. One ball, 2 strikes, no one down. Emma Paul leading off for a second straight inning. There's a ball. We're on the count even 2-2. I feel like it's not the first time this season that Emma Paul's led off back-to-back innings. These Armstrong bats have been mighty impressive up and down the order, not just a select few. As Paul looks at ball 3, well high there, and count will go full for Stossel. He'll either have to get this one across, or Paul will trot down to first with a walk. Pitch on its way. This one roped hard, a laser beam. Man, oh man, oh man. Emma Paul almost taking out a spectator. What a laser that was. You know, Emma Paul known for her arm as well, and shows it off in the powder puff game as she has the last couple years. She got a cannon, but man, oh man. I joked that she could have been a backup quarterback on the football team. She grounds to short, and a good senior at first, but just to wrap that thought, I watched her in the powder puff that she could have been at least a third stringer for Coach Frank Fabian and the Riverhawks. Well, the way she struck that ball, Coach Vinny Santelmo, you might want to think about recruiting Emma for a baseball team. Just an absolute rocket ship. This one hit towards the shortstop again. Pulls Zimmerman off the bag and safe. As a result is Brzezinka. So a tough play there as Brzezinka was motoring down the first base line and able to beat it out. And Zimmerman pulled away from the bag. As there's a cute little bulldog sitting to my right. Now just one down. Brzezinka at first. And Shelby Cloak will ground to third. Throw on to second. Trying to turn 2, but it won't be in time as Cloak motors down to first base. Give credit to Indiana. They've there are a couple really tough plays in that first inning where Armstrong batted around, or batted through at least, I guess I should say. And they've made the plays they've had to. You know, being smart, fundamental, going after the lead runner, and being accurate, except for that one throw to Zimmerman a little bit ago, which is still a tough play. Nonetheless, the umpire is going to, I think he's going to sermon Armstrong about the music maybe, but not sure. I didn't know the No Fun Police were coming today. So I think that's what it is, but back to the action. Stossel throws in low in the zone, sliding into second safely. It was Shelby Cloak showing off the wheels. And now Jessie Pugh following the ball will look out at her opponent Stossel, wait for the pitch, and Shelby Cloak right behind her. It's on base. Ryan Bowser, State Farm stolen base, and gunning it over is Gunning. It's let me double check this Indiana roster, but nonetheless, throw out at first. Nice play by the Indiana shortstop, who was tested there a couple times in that second inning and answered the call, and keeps the Riverhawks off the scoreboard. So both clubs unable to tally any runs in that second inning, and the score remains Armstrong 4, Indiana 1 here on High Top Sports Network. Best of luck to our very own Josh Schreckengost, who is playing in his
golf match facing a possible 0-3 start to the season. Josh Reckengoss trying to pull out the win against Scott Hogemeyer. True battle of titans at Bird's Foot Golf Club here tonight. Myself, Joe Rhodes, improved to 3-0. I played my match on Tuesday, not to brag. Josh accused me of having a soft schedule start my golf season, and I think what he failed to mention was he was one of the three the wins I got early on in the season, so he managed to insult himself. Josh with a little bit of a rough start to the year, but he's bringing it back around. Got that big lefty swing. Getting the chips and putts down, and he's been good the last few days, so best of luck to him. Best of luck to Scott. Bunt attempt back to the cage for a foul. Strike one. Yeah, Josh, you had a lights, kind of an easy start to the season. Well, guess who my first match was against? It was you, Josh. Some names familiar to folks out there. A great golfer at Armstrong during his time, Adam Sipple in our league. Nice play there by Shelby Cloak, and the third base position has been held down by some very good defensive players the last few years. Mackenzie Egley, a all-state player now at Carlo, and Cloak filling in nicely there. She's been about as seamless of a third base transition as you could have. That pitch out of the zone for ball one. One down here in the top of third. I know your scoreboard says the second inning. That is incorrect. Strike called by the nice gentleman in blue. Got to see Denny Bloss the other day, a former umpire. Frequently see him for games here atop the hill, and this one driven deep, this one driven back. It's going to be close to the foul line, and that one is gone. A huge swing there, and a towering home run for the Indians. The shortstop once again, Cunningham, able to notch the second run for the Indians with a towering home run down the left field line to make it 4-2 in favor of Armstrong. We're kind of spotlighting Cunningham a little bit in that last inning because of her defensive prowess, but the offensive side of things shown on that swing. So down by just 2 now are the Indians, who are no longer little. They're full-sized Indians, I suppose. I do believe that name derived from the fact that IUP, of course, Indiana University of Pennsylvania, in the same town as Indiana Area School District, they were the Indians, and I believe then Indiana just chose to stick with. There's Emma Paul with an excellent defensive play there, lunging to her right to catch it before it hits the ground for the out. As sure as they come, Emma Paul, great play. But back to what I was saying there, Indiana, I think just took the name Little Indians because IUP, of course, they were the Indians. And then I think they were like the Bears for a couple years. I think it was about a 3-year stretch where they had this awkward-looking black bear mascot. Kind of looked like he'd just woken up from a hibernation, very lethargic, not the move. And then they finally settled on the Crimson Hawks, which they still remain. But even when IUP went to the lethargic bear, Indiana was still the Little Indians, and I think it was last year, if I'm not mistaken, it might have been this year, that they dropped the Little title, and they became just Indians. A story of epic proportions. So 2 down, count even, 1-1. 4-2 your score. Baker trying to catch that outside corner, nothing doing though. She kind of makes a quick look over to her dugout to see the reaction of her teammates and coach. She thought it probably had a chance to be called the other way. Nothing doing. And the count now is 2 balls, a strike, 2 down. Runner's empty, or excuse me, base is empty. Be a little weird if the runners were empty. So we'd have to get them some food at the concession stand. Truly just a beautiful day. Olivia Zimmerman looking to make her mark. She hits a laser beam that's going to bounce off the bottom of the hill, thrown in quickly there by Toy. Good job by the right fielder to get that one in and limit Zimmerman to just a single. Of course, that position was held down by Emma Smerick, and oftentimes in similar hit balls, you'd see Smerick with that really just elite speed of hers, able to get it quickly off the fence and get it in. And Cassidy Adams was a center fielder next to her. She was awfully quick as well. One of the best catches we've ever seen was a play by Adams in the state playoffs a couple years back, and climbing the fence to rob a home run against, I believe, Central Mountain at St. Francis University in the quarterfinal round of the state playoffs. Riverhawks went to a state championship game that year. Bauer able to catch the corner there. You want to be careful with Hamilton at the plate. One of those big bats. Hamilton kind of old school, electing not to wear the sleeves, showing off the guns. Baker looks in at Bauer. Bauer keeps the glove there, but not able to get the call, and a long stare from Baker before she does a quick little walk back around to get in position. Until she thought that had a chance of being a strike, and this one hit. High fly ball. Camping under it is Toy, able to bring that one in for out number 3. So stranding the runner was Toy on the catch, but the Indians able to score on the high flying home run by the Indiana shortstop. And the score remains in favor of the Riverhawks, but by 1 run less. The score is 4-2. And the Riverhawks will come to bat in the bottom of the 3rd inning. I want to mention, too, AIA, are also known as Armstrong Indoor Athletics. They are going to be hosting a flea market sort of vendor show here in May. Hard to believe it's May already. I feel like I remember New Year's. It felt like a couple days ago, and here we are in May. It's the 4th month of the calendar year, and we're 1/3 of the way through 2024 already. We will be, I guess, once this month concludes, but boy, oh boy, time flies when you're having fun or just watching sports. And a great thing to be able to do. I can speak for Josh. And when we're not playing the sports, we're out participating in them. Big golfers, because of our wonderful relationship with the official golf course of High Top Sports Network. That, of course, Bird's Foot Golf Club. Make sure you find them online, birdsfoot.com. Book a tee time today. Some good deals on there. Travis, the owner, you got just a beautiful facility there. One of the top, just well taken care of facilities in Western Pennsylvania. And talk about some fair rates for tee times with a cart. If you prefer walking, if you're one of those crazy people that prefer to walk Bird's Foot, why you do that, I don't know. But if you prefer that too, that's an option. Walking Bird's Foot, that just sounds like a nightmare, really. One time my cart broke down there and I had to walk like 3 holes away, and it was bad enough. Having to walk the whole thing, that just sounds like insanity. The Riverhawks now will bat here in the bottom of inning number 3. Stossel fires that one home, but roped hard right down the line. The trend continues of just well-hit, hard-hit balls by the Riverhawks, and not wasting any time there. For the Riverhawks was, I believe that was Abby Bauer, if I'm not, yeah. Yep, it is, because she's going to get the courtesy runner. I should have known because of the nifty walk-up tune. Trying to think of a better term than nifty. Swell. How about that? No, Bauer will head back into the dugout. The courtesy runner Sturgeon stands at first. First pitch to the second batter here in this third inning for the Riverhawks. A ball. Right-handed swinging batter in the Riverhawks box. That one's going to bloop just over the head of the second baseman. A good job of motoring down to second base because you didn't want to kind of move too far and risk being doubled up. That's Sturgeon I'm speaking of, but once she saw that one was over the head of the second baseman and dropping in front of the right fielder, she hightailed it down to second base. And now the Riverhawks, as they were able to do in the first inning, getting the first two batters on. And now Jordan Klingensmith looks at strike one, a ball inside, but catching the zone according to home plate umpire. No balls, one strike the count. No one down. Two runners on. Klingensmith waits on that one. It's going to be down the line. This one has a chance, and that one's going to go off the middle of the fence and load up the bases. A laser beam there by Klingensmith that moves everybody up one bag. That ball was moving down the line in a hurry, so much so that it kind of prevented the lead runner, Sturgeon, to score. But still an advantageous position for the Riverhawks. Nice piece of hitting there by Klingensmith, and now Guthrie will come to the plate with bases loaded, no one down here in inning number 3. Armstrong, all their runs coming in the first inning. Indiana with a run in the first, run in the second. Strike called. Thinking about loading up and swinging there was batter Guthrie, but decides against it. Count now 1 ball and a strike. Still no one down, bases juiced. Pitch on its way by Stossel. This one's ripped up the middle. Nice piece of hitting there. 1 run will score. Head coach Keith Schaefer down at the third base bag will keep the runner there. So an RBI single by Guthrie will bring up Addie Baker with the score now 5-2 in favor of the team in blue. Armstrong getting out of the gates in the first inning and now the third inning quite well. You already got 1 run across, bases loaded. Madison Baker at the plate. You really cement your lead here in this inning if you can tack on a few more, and a great opportunity to do so. As Baker looks at the strike, and you kind of by her reaction, you wonder if she's thinking, I threw that same pitch last half inning, and darn it, you called it a ball. Why was it a strike there? And Madison, I agree with you. So the count now, even 1-1. This one ripped down the third base line. You're seeing a lot of players on both sides early on these pitches, driving them foul down the left field line. So Baker wants love nothing more than to help her own cause. As a butterfly. Oh. And a double play, getting too far off the bag at third was Bauer. No, that wasn't Bauer, excuse me. That was Ziegler. And a double play will... Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was... Oh, no, yep, that was a double play. A catch and then the throw to third. I was wondering whether there was a runner at first base. Well, she was there already, so she got back, and now there's suddenly 2 down, but you're going to pick one player in this Armstrong roster to come up after an unfortunate set of circumstances like that. It'd be number 5, I'm sure. sure Jesse Pugh could make a case for that too, but Shelby Cloak. But man, Emma Paul burst on the scene as a freshman and as consistent as they come. Josh and I were kind of compiling some statistics and looking at some numbers and trying to figure out whether or not Emma struck out 20 times in her career. There's a really good chance she has not. 3 so far this year, 3 last year. I think 10 as a freshman, which is still an incredibly low number for a 9th grader. So it's a matter of what happened in that sophomore year. We don't have those stats available to us. But nonetheless, that's a pretty remarkable stat if, in fact, even if she's under 30. That's hard to do, especially when you think about the playoff games the Riverhawks have competed in. Here's Paul. She's going to rope this one down the line. That's going to drop in. A nice little pitching wedge there, and for whatever reason, the runner at third base is held up, and base is now loaded. I think that it's Klingensmith at third. I think she would have been able to score pretty easily because the fielder had her back to the direction in which Klingensmith was running. That, of course, home, and it would have been hard for her to be able to turn completely and fire and beat the speedy Klingensmith. So instead, Riverhawks will run the risk of having to bring home that runner now with 2 down. If that's 1 out, I maybe understand holding up Klingensmith, but with 2 down, might as well send her. That one well the outside part of the plate for a ball. Good job again by Hamilton behind the dish for Indiana, doing a good job of stopping some of these more difficult pitches in the dirt and out of the zone. Check swing there by Brzezinka. I think I might have said that was Shelby Cloak. I apologize. This is Brzezinka, the outfielder for Armstrong. Isabella Brzezinka looks at the ball, and the count now 2-2. Whoops, I didn't need to shout into the microphone. 2-2 with 2 down. Bases loaded. Armstrong, I believe, left 2 runners stranded last inning, and now at risk of leaving 3 unless Brzezinka can do something. And right there is strike 3. Swinging out of the zone. Brzezinka is going to continue to run. I'm not sure. There's the out call finally, and some confusion, certainly by myself. But the Indians leaving the bases loaded. Good job of buckling down there and stranding 3 and keeping the Riverhawks at 5. They had the bases loaded with no one down and could not bring anybody around. That's certainly not what you want to see if you're Armstrong at this stage of the season, trying to ramp things up and get ready for another postseason run. You're going to have to take advantage of every opportunity to score here in a couple weeks when the playoffs do begin. So we head to the 4th inning. And the score here on this Armstrong Indoor Athletics game day remains Armstrong 5, Indiana 2. Thank you to Armstrong Indoor Athletics. I'm going to mention, I'm going to pull up the ad here if I can, for the flea market vendor show. So the vendor show, flea market, at the very sprawling facility in Armstrong Indoor Athletics. Obviously, just everything you can imagine to help young baseball players and softball players, maybe even older ones too. Who's to say they're just young? You can get some guy in a beer league softball, and he wants to get some cuts in, send him down to Pete Harmon, get him swinging right. But anyways, this one roped over the head of Pugh, foul. Man, it looked like that might have been a little bit of a blooper over the head of Pugh, but it goes foul. Anyways, that great facility they have can do more than just be a baseball, softball kind of training facility. It also doubles as a place to have some cool things like this vendor show. That, of course, is going to take place on May 4th and the 18th. So may the 4th be with you. And the 18th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And you can find out more about that by visiting aia.team/market-place. Again, that's aia.team/market-place. Make sure you check it out. I'm sure there's going to be some cool booze and goods available at this. Again, there's so much space there. It's a wonderful place to be able to host something of the sort. As for the action back out in the field, Madison Baker, a little touched up here today, but right there, doing what she does best, going up high and trying to get that strike out, and she does it to perfection for the out. I feel like it's like a lazy old dog, just sitting under the sun, make me a little sleepy, but I think I'll survive, hopefully. This one down the third base line, camping under it is Cloak for out number 2. It's one pitch, one out there. That's what you like to see. And possibly shaping up to be another quick defensive inning for the Riverhawks here, if they can retire the third batter of this 4th inning. Off-speed pitch, catching the outside corner. Nice job there by Baker to mix it up in the first pitch of the at-bat. Get the strike. Antonassi, batter for the Indians, who were formerly Little. Swinging through it and missing. Frustration shown there by Antonassi. Now Baker in the driver's seat. Turn the microphone up a little bit. I had to really lean in on it and not in the most comfortable position. And right there, 3 pitches and striking out the final batter. Antonassi was Madison Baker going high in the zone. So the Indians go down in order as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. The score remains Armstrong 5, Indiana 2 here on High Top Sports Network. Joe Rhodes, glad to be here with you today. Great to catch late season softball, and certainly these Riverhawks have had some very successful seasons here of late. And this team, though it had to replace some big pieces and certainly some big shoes to fill, they've done so nicely. Talk about someone like Presenica and Abby Bauer behind the plate, having to replace just a stalwart in Bella Atherton, now at Gannon. And Madison Baker, of course, having to replace, talk about another stalwart, Cam Sprankle. What she was able to do. You know, he said about Cam, if you're going to get her, you had to get her early. Because as games went on, she got better. It was just such a mark of hers. Anytime she get touched up in the playoffs, it would have had to been early in games, because as it went on and you got in the later stages of the game, Sprankle was darn near unhittable for the Riverhawks. Baker, of course, getting some innings over the past few years, being just a year younger than Sprankle. Also, get that added resource of having another top-notch, A-caliber pitcher to kind of work with every day and kind of help make you better. It's such a luxury, really, for the Riverhawks to have both Baker and Cam Sprankle the last few years. First pitch swinging here, foul back. Taking a look was Hamilton, but out of play for strike 1. A walk-up song there. Queen's Fat Bottom Girls, great song. I always joke that to bring this full circle, Matt, a guy, one of the great groundskeepers at Birdsfoot, looks like Brian May. Brian May, of course, the guitarist for Queen. High pitch there and swinging through it was Shelby Cloak. So Shelby with the cool walk-up song. Still got to give the edge to Bauer right now, just because that song and that mixtape takes me back to my times at The Rock, greatest collegiate institution. Wow! Reaching up for that one was Cloak. Boy, oh boy. Like she was swinging a fly swatter there. That was unbelievable. Getting up way above her head, it seemed, to knock that one into left field and trot down to first base with a single. But as I was saying there, Miss Bauer's walk-up song, fond of it because it brings back some good memories of the greatest collegiate institution known to man. That, of course, Slippery Rock University. Running down to second base and getting in safely was Cloak, and takes out the very talented and having a very strong day shortstop, Cunningham. It's now Cloak at second base. No one down, and the always dangerous Jesse Pugh stands in. Stossel delivers this one high. This one's going to be another one hopping the fence. Cloak will score, and Pugh will trot into second base, as we've seen so many times over the last 4 years, with a stand-up double. And a run tacked on for the Riverhawks. Cloak crossing the plate and score now 6-2 here in inning number 4. Great piece of hitting there by Jesse Pugh. Doesn't try to do too much. The right-handed batter just kind of poked at it and took it to the opposite field and the outfield gap there in right center. And a great place to put it, as it allowed Cloak to score easily. Six to 2 your score here in inning number 4. Still no one out. And the aforementioned Abby Bauer now taking cuts with Pugh at second base. Toasty warm out here, like a dog in the sun. This one hit deep. It's going to be camped under by the center fielder. Pugh takes a couple steps towards the third base bag to make the center fielder Lanarelli have to fire that one in, and glances off the glove of Cunningham, but Pugh will have to stay at third. Now one down. Pugh not wasting any time. What a great jump there by Jesse Pugh. No hesitation at all. You can't do that. And Pugh scampers down to third base. Heads up, veteran play there by Jesse Pugh. Puts her just a few short feet away from home plate as Natalie Ziegler at the dish. Count 1 ball, no strikes, 1 down. And hard off the glove of the third baseman, shortstop Cunningham will just have to eat that one, and the Riverhawks now have runners at the corners. And Jordan Klingensmith will step into the right-handed batter's box. Riverhawks, all their runs earned. 14 hits thus far. Klingensmith trying to get another one here. It'd be huge for the Riverhawks to continue to add on, put the pressure on Stossel and the Indians. Looks like Coach Schaefer's going to make his way to the home plate umpire. Not sure what is happening here. Looks like maybe a runner. Yep, that's what that is. So Smith, who was at first base, opposite of Pugh at third, I believe will be lifted for a runner, I do believe. Just 1 down. Klingensmith at the plate for the Riverhawks. She's 2 for 2 today. The excellent second baseman for the Riverhawks. One of those players who had a terrific postseason last year in the state playoffs. Really, all those trips out east, no big deal for Jordan Klingensmith. She had a Couple towering home runs in that Eastern tour in the state playoffs. Riverhawks, of course, as the case was 3 years ago, they lost the WPIAL championship game, and when that's the case, the PIAA likes to send you out east. Looks like Klingensmith's going to trying to flex that. Looks like her right knee. Didn't really see anything in that last pitch that would lead me to believe that she had aggravated anything, but Coach Schaefer will tap the back of his second baseman, and it looks like she's going to stand back in there, kind of trying to flex that right leg. Looks like a knee possibly, but didn't really see what could have been there. But she will stay in the game with one down, 2 runners in scoring position. Pugh at third, and behind her, Smith. And Jordan Klingensmith with a 2-ball no-strike count. Pitch on its way by Stossel. Swing and a miss over top that one. Stossel able to fool Klingensmith with the off-speed pitch. Six to 2 the score. Armstrong looking to tack on here. Klingensmith fouls that one off. And the count moves to 2-2 to Jordan Klingensmith. Klingensmith with 2 total bases here today. 2 hits in her 2 plate appearances, and I'd like to make it perfect 3 for 3, but slight concern I think right now for her. It seems like that knee or right leg impeding her to some extent. Chopped foul, and Coach Schaefer with a Brian Hayes like play at third there. Coach Schaefer quick to his right there. Coach's dream. Able to range over there like Coach was able to on that foul ball. And the last pitch on its way, and Klingensmith kind of trotting down to first. Clearly her gait not good. And you got to imagine that she's giving Coach Schaefer a thumbs up at the other side of the diamond, but certainly an uncomfortable looking trot down to first base there by Klingensmith. And now bases loaded, 1 out. Riverhawks leading 6-2, and a prime opportunity to tack on here with just 1 out. Will be Lily Guthrie. Guthrie 1 for 2 today. Check swing, high in the zone, appeal. And the appeal down to third says no swing. The ball is the call. Lily Guthrie, number 8. That one low in the zone. Nice job by Hamilton to once again get that awkward hop and keep it in front of her. Klingensmith at first. Smith at second. Jesse Pugh at third. Just 1 down. And this one roped into the gap. Nice piece of hitting once again by Guthrie, as she did earlier in the game. She's going to get down to second base with a double and 2 runs across. Lily Guthrie, nice piece of hitting there. Second time in this game where she's been able to just take the pitch and drive it where she could, and great place to do it as 2 runs are able to cross the plate, and the Riverhawks lead 8-2. Armstrong making some really strong contact here today. A couple balls that just missed getting out of this park. And much power is profiled in that Armstrong roster. The only home run today is gone for the Indians. Of course, in the second inning. Solo shot. The other inning for Indiana coming in the first. And Madison Baker looks at a strike. 1-1 the count now. One down. And two runners in scoring position. Baker ended the last inning with two runners on base. Actually, I think the bases were loaded, if I'm not mistaken. Would not want to be responsible for, well, I guess there's still just one out, but Baker doesn't want to have another at bat where she doesn't bring home either one of the two base runners in scoring position. 8-2 Armstrong. Pitch on its way. A late strike call. That one apparently just catching the bottom outside part of the zone, and now Baker faces a 2-2 count. One down. Pitcher on pitcher matchup here between Stossel and Baker. Pitch on its way, low in the zone. Runs the count, to 3-2. A Steffi's Country Catering full count. Make sure you check out Steffi's Country Catering Sunday specials. Just hop on the Facebook and find the man, the myth, the legend, Terry Steffi. That's TerrySteffy. Look him up on Facebook and check out his page, his Facebook page. That one's just foul. And you can see the Sunday specials he posts on there. I think Terry told us a little bit a while back that there is a Steffi's Country Catering Facebook page, but just the junk that Facebook can be at times, just as you get all those kind of bad links and those spam links, his account got hacked, and so he just hasn't been able to get that thing reactivated. And he's obviously the face of the thing, so he just puts the menu up and the specials right there on his Facebook page. And so I urge you to do that. Again, find Terry Steffi on Facebook, Steffi's Country Catering. Check out the Sunday specials. Always something good. Get some variety. There's usually multiple options for those Sunday takeout specials. This one, a infield pop-up, third baseman in on it for the out. And so Baker with the fly out to the third baseman, or pop out rather. And now Emma Paul will stand in. And another clutch position. Two runners on and two down. Armstrong able to tally two in this inning, but certainly the more the merrier. If I'm trying to imagine how the Riverhawks would feel. High, ball one to Emma Paul. Paul 2 for 3 here so far. In this 8-2 contest, the Riverhawks again tacking 2 on. Paul early on this one. A Chris Gardocki punt height foul ball. It's a joke of mine that we always say Chris Gardocki, who's former Steelers punter. That one a moonshot. Paul with 2 down, stands inside, able to get out of the way for the ball. Runs the count to 2-1. Emma Paul batting that leadoff spot for the Riverhawks this season. An effort to give Emma as many at-bats as you can give the All-State talent. High in the zone. Not even giving it a thought was Paul. Count now 3-1. And you obviously play safe with Paul, but things don't get too much easier after her. You got Cloak and then, or excuse me, Presenica, Cloak, and Pugh. Paul right to Coach Schaefer, who again makes the routine plays look routine. Coach in the running for the Nicolay and Photography Player of the Game with all these nifty plays he has at third base. Armstrong's dugout cheering on their senior leader as the count sits at 3-2 with 2 down. Runners in scoring position. Emma Paul lays off as she often does. She's not going to swing out of the zone too often. She'll trot down to first base. That on-base percentage for Paul has got to be sky high. As now Brzezinska will stand in. 2 outs. And the number 2 batter in the order for the Riverhawks trying to add on. This one fouled back towards the cage for strike 1. Brzezinska fitting in there nicely atop the Armstrong order, and basically for 3 years was just didn't change, especially the number 1 and number 2. You had Emma Smerick and then Emma Paul. And you did have Mackenzie Agley, I believe, a couple years back there. And then when she graduated 2 years ago, Jenna Klontz moved into that spot, and then Pugh batted 4th. But a very familiar order for the Riverhawks the last few years. And this one hit high, this one hit deep. It's going to have a chance, but it stays in. And the catch made by the Indiana center fielder, Lanarelli, and the Riverhawks for I believe a second straight inning, strand 3. But they do tack on 2 more, and the score continues to be in favor of the Riverhawks. It, of course, is 8-2. But interesting there, and obviously when you bat around or come close to it, and like the Riverhawks have here a couple times, you're probably going to leave some batters on. You got to get 3 outs at some point. But certainly I think the Riverhawks are in a position where they want to keep adding on and use these at-bats where you have bases loaded 2 down as a kind of I'm trying to think of a good word to describe it, sort of a pre-season warm-up, or postseason warm-up, where the stakes are larger, the competition's more fierce, and you're going to be put in some difficult positions. And certainly, standing in there with bases loaded and 2 down is a difficult time in the game. And last 2 innings, the Riverhawks leave the bases loaded. So certainly a 6-run lead appreciated by the Riverhawks, but just something to note. So now we head to the top of the 5th inning. Indiana has not scored since the 2nd inning. Feels like a lifetime ago at this rate. This one hit in a routine play for the rangy shortstop Emma Paul for out number 1. I should mention, Baker's been touched up a couple times. Had that home run by the shortstop Cunningham, and then a run in the 1st inning. But a couple 1, 2, 3 innings by Baker, and a couple of those outs, and the majority of those outs, a couple of strikeouts. Baker going high on a couple Indiana batters and getting a swing and miss, just as you saw there. A swing and a miss this time by Lanarelli, the center fielder for the Indians of Indiana area. Indiana County, the Christmas tree capital of the world. Home of Jimmy Stewart, Edward Abbey, and Joe Rhodes. We'll note that I'm a Armstrong County guy now, but grew up in Indiana County, more specifically Marion Center. Great place to grow up. Nice pitch there by Baker. Man, oh man, when she decides to go upstairs and put a little something behind it, it definitely can induce the swing and miss, as we've seen a couple times here today. And now 2 down quickly for the Indians, who are running out of chances, down to their final 7 outs. But the hard-hitting shortstop Cunningham steps in, looks at a strike. Another shout out to Squirt One of the best pops ever made. Love me some squirt. Grapefruit, awesome. Turn it into a pop, just as great. Barely able to get a piece there. Just sort of chopping at it was Cunningham. Baker really kind of rearing back on that one. So she's in the driver's seat here with no balls, 2-strike count, 2 down. Baker looks in at Bauer, fires home. This one blooper coming in for it is the second baseman, Klingensmith. It gets away. Try to kind of do a little bit of a basket catch. I believe that was Klingensmith, and just unable to secure it. So the inning continues. With Cunningham now standing at first. And the batter is Stossel. Baker's mound opponent. She looks at a strike. Count, no balls, 1 strike. 2 down, and Cunningham at first. This one slapped hard, and Paul makes an attempt at it, but sharply towards center field and got thrown in quickly. So a single is what Stossel will be held to, and Cunningham stands at second. And Olivia Zimmerman now will stand in for Indiana. Armstrong kind of missing out on the clutch hits in the last couple innings, leaving the bases loaded. Zimmerman now might be in a somewhat similar situation now with 2 down and 2 on. Great to see just the green on the trees. I think winter can be so ugly sometimes, just trees without leaves, and it seems like mud everywhere and gray skies. This day is as beautiful as they get. The lush leaves blossoming in the trees along the Allegheny River here in lovely Katanning and Ford City, PA. Where we stand is Manor Township, but right down the road from Katanning and Manorville, and out yonder behind your view there, that's Ford City. Down the beautiful Allegheny. And a few days make it more beautiful than this. Just a tremendous view up here. So Zimmerman now, with 2 down, has a 2 balls, no strike count to her name. Baker now will have to battle back, throws this pitch outside, gets the swing and miss, thrown down, but nice backup there by, I believe that was Klingensmith. Yeah, good job by the second baseman to back up the play at first. Kind of a off-target throw there by Bauer, trying to hit Pugh, and Klingensmith over there nicely. Pitch on its way. Strike on the outside corner. Zimmerman decides to hold the bat. Now the count will run even, 2-2. Runners on the corners. Pitch on its way. This one slapped back towards center field. Going back, but then having to come forward and not able to make the catch. There's nearly run there. Just to kind of point out what I just saw there, the third base coach had the windmill going on, and that ball got in there quickly, and I think it was Emma Paul who'd gotten the ball, and it quickly back to third base was the base runner, because I'll tell you what, that would have been very hard to get home. Smart decision by her to kind of backtrack despite getting that windmill at third. But bigger concern there is that drop by the Armstrong center fielder. She started kind of heading back towards the fence and had to readjust and start coming in. And though she did get a glove on it, that decision to kind of go back and then misread it and have to then come in on it might have been what cost her, but hit the glove, and I'm sure an error will be how it's scored. So 8-3. This one hit back and cannot be caught. Another miscue by the Armstrong outfield. 2 runs will score, and down to second is Hamilton. So don't look now. Indiana not going to go away quietly. Errors costing the Armstrong outfield in particular. You know, I made the comment earlier in this game that this outfield's done a very solid job of replacing some veterans that manned those positions in the last few years, and maybe some of that inexperience showing up here on these last few plays as a miscue in right field extends this inning and brings a couple Indiana players around and score 8-5. Check out the back score, but Myers at the plate for Indiana now. 2 down, and give credit to Indiana, a little bit of 2-out magic here. They're doing what they need to do, putting bat on ball. It's Armstrong that's not able to end these threats from the visitors. But it looks like only 2 of these 5 runs are earned. So that means there are 3 unearned runs as it stands to Madison Baker's ledger. As that pitch comes humming in and called a strike. Top of the 5th inning, Indiana getting into this Armstrong lead, but Baker doing what Baker does best and has done on a couple occasions here tonight, climbing the ladder there and inducing the swing and miss for out number 3. So Madison Baker takes play. She strikes out the final batter of this 5th inning. But again, Indiana able to cut into the Armstrong lead. The score 8-5 Armstrong. Baker, though, with just 2 earned runs of the 5 that have scored for Indiana. Armstrong with 15 hits here through the first 4 innings. An impressive number there. But a couple moments with these miscues and then situational hitting. You leave the bases loaded twice. 15 hits are great, but again, these are the games that you use as sort of de facto, I guess, playoff warm-up kind of contests and try to find your best, your best self, you could say. And a couple miscues certainly troublesome for Armstrong, and again, situational hitting. Not something that has been pristine, I guess you could say, for Armstrong here. But an opportunity for the Riverhawks, who lead by 3 here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And Shelby Cloak leads off. This one is high. This one is back. It's going to be close and not able to bring it in as the outfielder. And Shelby Cloak will stand at third with a leadoff triple. The best daggone moderator around, Shelby Cloak, leads things off with a triple and gives Jesse Pugh a duck on the pond here in the bottom of inning number 5. Stoppage here is Blue. Gives a safe call. This Cloak would be the only person out there. Not sure what. Maybe he was just saying that was safe at third. Maybe the question of whether or not she missed a bag. Not entirely sure, but she still stands at third. Jesse Pugh, the hard-hitting Riverhawks first baseman, stands in there and looks at strike 1. Good job there by Stossel, who is nearing 100 pitches. I believe that might have been 100 right there, actually, as a matter of fact. Able to get inside on the hands of the right-handed batting Pugh. That one also inside, but too far for a ball. No outs. Shelby Cloak with the leadoff triple a moment ago, and now Jesse Pugh, the tremendous first baseman for Armstrong, with a little flare out to Stossel for out number 1. Pugh 2 for 3, now 2 for 4. Now the one half of the Armstrong battery, Abby Bauer, steps in. Bauer 2 for 3 today. That one roped short. That one dropped. A good job there by Bauer not to give up on the play, because it looked like it was brought in securely by Cunningham, but as she kind of went to the ground, it popped out, and the heads-up play by Bauer puts runners on the corners. Courtesy runner will come out for the Armstrong catcher. Now, Armstrong having no issues getting the bats going to start these innings. It's been kind of as the innings have elapsed and getting down to the 2-out situations. Just one down now, runners at the corners. But Sturgeon replaces Bauer at first, and Natalie Ziegler at the plate. This one hit hard. This one coming right towards us here, and it is brought in. Man, oh man. A sacrifice RBI fly out there by Natalie Ziegler. Nice piece of hitting. It feels as though the wind's maybe blowing in, and I'll tell you one thing about this venue. Rarely does it blow in, but it looks like a couple balls that seem like they might have a chance have kind of been held up by the wind. I need to give it the old grass. Yeah, it's blown in. I guess I could just look at the flag in the distance. Use my brain. But a run added to the Armstrong ledger makes it 9-5. Jordan Klingensmith, who seems to be doing well, flexing that knee last inning, but just stayed out, played defense, and now will bat with 2 down, runner at first. Ball outside. Ball 2, 2-1, or 2-0. Nine to 5 your score here in the bottom of the 5th. Stossel inside. Stossel to 106 pitches. Wondered if we would see Zimmerman. Stossel given the start for the Indians that were once little but no longer are. I have to say that. It's an interesting move, just putting the word little in front of it anyways. It's not very intimidating. It could have been like the Fighting Indians at that point. They decided to, they elected to go with little. Nonetheless, we got 2 down, swing and a miss. Will end things for Armstrong. Another runner stranded, but they do tack on a run. They now lead by a score of 9-5 after 5 full. I want to take an opportunity to thank one of our sponsors, that of course Ryan Bowser State Farm. Like a good neighbor, Ryan Bowser State Farm is there. A provider of several types of insurance: home, auto, renters, boat, you name it, motorcycle. Basically a one-stop shop for all your insurance needs. That of course Ryan Bowser State Farm in Ford City. Stop by and tell Ryan hello. We're going to awesome conversationalist. If you're needing a nice chat and also in the market for insurance, I promise you the place to go is Ryan Bowser State Farm. Right there in the main drag, as I like to say, in Ford City. Ryan Bowser State Farm, day one sponsor of us here on High Top Sports Network, and a ton of respect for that guy, and his support, obviously a reason for that, but also too excellent insurance agent. We, as you know, in High Top we experienced a tragic fire back in October, and Ryan gave us a lot of insurance advice. He wasn't the insurance agent of record on that, but answered just a plethora of questions that we had, and did so, and patience and very thorough way of doing it. And boy, it really kind of helped us during that time, and that's what you expect from your insurance agent. This one hit towards the tennis courts, out of play. So the 6th inning upon us here at Armstrong Junior Senior High School. May 2nd, 2024. Baker rears back and misses high. I got a notification that I have a tee time scheduled. Somebody's out there scheduling tee times for me. A big pitch by Baker, another swing and miss. I like to see that. She's gone up top a couple times to get that swing and miss. That time just rearing back and putting it in the kind of the outer quadrant of the strike zone and inducing the swing and miss for out number 1. Strike to start the second at bat. Antonassi, the batter for Indiana, decides to hold her swing, and right decision as it's ruled a ball. 1-1 the count. 0 for 2 is Antonassi, and she will go 0 for 3 after the ground out to Klingensmith. Four 3 put out. Baker now, as the case was last half inning for Stossel, nearing 100 pitches. She sits at 98. 99th pitch called a ball. This one fouled back towards the backstop. Taking a look quickly is Bauer, but that one will go out of play. And the count goes to 1 ball and I believe 2 strikes. This one fouled off once again by the batter Carnevale. One of my favorite names today, Carnevale. Sounds like something you'd have at a wonderful, delicious Mexican restaurant or Italian restaurant, I don't know. And another swing and miss. That's how Baker ends the top half of the 6th inning. Kind of goes up top once again. That's been her, it's been sort of her MO, and she's able to retire the side and keep the Armstrong lead at 4 runs. 9-5, your score. To again thank our sponsors for their support: Steffi's Country Catering, Nicola Ann Photography, Ryan Bowser State Farm, Armstrong Indoor Athletics. Really, all of our sponsors all year. It's been a sort of a difficult year for myself and Josh Reckengost, and all the kind of build back from what I mentioned earlier, and certainly your support, a big reason why. It was a little bit easier. Certainly nothing about it was, but just a ton of support from all you folks out there. Just by watching, that means a ton to us. And we had some just wonderful sponsors who continued to show their faith in us, and we couldn't be more appreciative of it here at High Top Sports Network. Certainly going to be able to take care of some things that are just a little difficult to do so in the midst of a school year once the summer comes around, and come back firing in all cylinders here in the fall of 2024. Hard to believe that the upcoming school year after this will be the 2024-2025 school year. That number sounds fake, first of all. But boy, oh boy, you blink and already this decade about to be halfway over. Hard to believe. So the Riverhawks now take their cuts in the 6th inning. They hope this is their last time at the plate, being that they're the home team, and they're batting in the 7th. Something not so good happened. They would have surrendered their lead. So certainly they hope this is the last time they take their cuts. Swung on. Nice ranging play to her right, and a throw on the dot was Cunningham. Excellent play there by the Indiana shortstop to retire Guthrie, who has had a couple nice hits today. She was 2 for 3 prior to that. She'll have to settle for 2 for 4. Now Madison Baker, with no one on, will stand in. The Armstrong pitcher holds back, but a strike called. Baker 0 for 3 today. Baker, the lone Riverhawk, without a hit. Emma Paul with 2, Brzezinski with 2, Cloak with 3, Pugh with 2, Bauer with 3, Ziegler with 1, Klingsmith with 2, and Guthrie with 2, and Madison Baker, who I think will probably reach first on an error. Maybe not. We'll see what this is ruled. But the only Armstrong player without a hit, as she heads back to the dugout, and a courtesy runner sent to first. See what the old game changer says about that last play, and we wait for Emma Paul to step in. Paul 2 for 3. So there, that last play is going to go down as an error. A rare miscue by Cunningham at short. So Madison Baker would have to remain the only Armstrong player without a hit next to their name. Emma Paul, with that runner now at first base, will stand in. Already 2 for 3. A nice job there, and a good jump allows Poor to get down to second base. So Emma Paul now will stand in with a runner in scoring position. 1 down, bottom of the 6th, and the Riverhawks leading 9-5. Stossel back on the rubber. She fires home high. Paul doesn't swing, but the call is a strike. One and 1 the count to the Armstrong shortstop. Runner at second base is Poor. 1 down. Paul puts this one down the third base line, and a foul ball is the call. Awfully close. Thought Emma was going to drop a little pitching wedge right down the third base line, but it lands on the foul side of the line. So she'll remain in the batter's box, and Poor returns to second base. Stossel will have to deal with the Armstrong shortstop some more. She fires in a ball. Paul with a walk to go along with her 2 hits, 1 run, no RBIs, of course no strikeouts. Not her thing. This one roped towards the home dugout. Keep the count where it is, 2-2, with 1 down here in the bottom of the 6th. Emma recently named to the All-State basketball team, well deserved. Certainly the heart and soul of that team, not just this year, but the last few. This one hit high. It's going to be drifting towards foul ground. Over there is the shortstop Cunningham, but she kind of overruns it and breathes new life in this at bat. Emma Paul will remain in the batter's box, and the count 2-2 with 1 down. Poor, of course, still at second base. Some insurance runs. Would be what the Riverhawks would like here, but Emma Paul hit by the pitch. So, again, Emma Paul's on-base percentage, I'm sure, is excellent. She has been on base 4 times now. A walk, a hit by pitch, and 2 hits to her ledger. Now, Brzezinski will stand in. Still just 1 down. Now 2 on. Poor, the lead runner at second. Slapped hard right between the third baseman and shortstop. Runners will stay. Move just 1 bag ahead. Brzezinski at first, Paul second, Poor third. And Shelby Cloak will look to bust this one open. Another bases loaded situation for Armstrong. Stop me if I've said that before. Stossel ready to fire home to Hamilton. High in the zone. Big cut there by Cloak. And you wonder why she chased that up high. Well, earlier in the game, I think she hit a ball that was even higher than that. I want to say it was above her head, but able to make contact, drop it in the outfield, and wasn't conventional. Certainly, I'm sure Coach Schaefer would have preferred her not to swing at something like that, but that's the kind of pitch he would prefer she swing as. It scores 2, as she's going to trot into second with a stand-up double. Shelby Cloak gives the Riverhawks an 11-5 lead. Paul scores and Poor scores for Armstrong. Nice piece of hitting there by the Armstrong outfielder, Isabella Brzezinski. Now Jessie Pugh really like to pour some salt on the wound if she can get a hold of this one. 11-5. Now after the hit by Brzezinski. Pugh thinks about it, lays off. Umpire trusts the veteran first baseman, at least her eye, and elects to call it a ball. Bottom of inning number 6. Strike to Jessie Pugh, the Pitt Johnstown bound product. Pugh going to be a member of the PSAC. This one chopped hard. Nicely done by Cunningham, who gets the out at first, but the throw across to try to nab Cloak is late. And a RBI ground out gives Jessie Pugh yet another RBI. Score now 12-5 Armstrong. message back from our friend Josh Reckengast to see if he is able to bust out and get his first win of the 2024 golf campaign. No word yet. A legendary matchup, week 1 of that league. Myself versus Josh Reckengast. It was sold out. The rough was absolutely covered with spectators, as you imagine. That's a complete lie. But just a there's a bumblebee trying to get a sip of my squirt, which I do not appreciate. This one hit hard. Cunningham tested all day long, and that time she's able to fire over to Zimmerman to retire the final Armstrong batter of this 6th inning. But once again, the Riverhawks able to add on to their lead. They now sit in front of the Indians by a score of 12-5. Armstrong, it's been a productive day. The game started with a lot of very hard hit balls. Early in the game, you saw a couple balls hit the top of the fence, talking a matter of maybe 6 inches from being a home run. And that certainly would have brought home some more runs, because I believe later on in that inning, I believe it was the 2nd, if I'm not mistaken, 2 runners were stranded. But I'm trying to get the total number of stranded runners. Another one there in that bottom of the 6th. But again, you got to like what you see otherwise in the box score. You see 19 hits, 12 RBI, just 2 walks, but another important stat, just 2 strikeouts for the Riverhawks, who have had 37 at-bats, and again, 19 of those going for a hit. That's something that any coach would be glad to see. Look at the Indians now. No one on that Indiana side in the bottom half of the order has collected a hit. All the hits coming from batters 1 through 4, interestingly enough. Only 2 of these Indiana runs have been earned, which leads me to Baker's line here. He's about to wrap up a complete game, you imagine. So far, just 4 hits, 5 runs, 2 of which earned, 1 walk, and 11 strikeouts for Madison Baker. So, typical numbers, a couple little blips on the radar, I guess you could say, in the early part of this game. That 2nd inning, the last time that, or not the last time, but whenever the Indiana shortstop was able to touch up Baker for a home run down the left field line. Now she's trying to shut the door, count 1-1. Lanarelli, the center fielder. Now behind the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Indiana down to its final 3 outs. Armstrong wants to continue to run this win streak up as a routine pop out to Emma Paul brings the Indians to just to 2 outs left. Try to extend this one. 7 runs needed. That's a tall task. But it's got to start somewhere if you're Indiana. And the next person with an opportunity to keep things going is Cunningham. She did have that 1 error earlier, but she's been tested early and often here. Cunningham at shortstop. Some really nice plays by her. She, of course, had that home run. So this game certainly not a fault, or Cunningham really being at fault, I would say. She's been pretty darn solid outside of that one small mistake. As she hits that ball out of play. Did stay on this side of the fence. Armstrong unable to track it down. Cunningham 1 for 2. Baker at 108 pitches, 109 now after that ball high out of the zone. Kind of a waste pitch as she's ahead in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. For another K here. Does she get it? She does not. As a quick turn back to the outfield, as the expression Baker shows. Just wants to kind of keep moving. Sure she's going to fire this one home. And this one ripped hard. It hits the Indiana coach manning third base. He's a gamer. He kind of signaled that to the umpire and some of the people that showed a little bit of concern. This is a great line from Monty Python. It's just a flesh wound. Little blooper here in the outfield. That's going to drop between two outfielders and down to second base. Not stopping. A very heads-up play there by Cunningham. Man, we started this game talking about how this outfield has done and acquitted itself quite well, but I know if in years past that would have been a ball between Cassidy Adams and Emma Smerick, and few times did balls find their way in between those two. So that's something I'm sure Armstrong's going to want to clean up a bit before they inevitably reach the postseason. So Stossel now batting for the visitors. Cunningham at second. Count 2 balls, 1 strike with 1 down. Madison Baker trying to shut the door on the Indians. Stossel trying to keep things going. She takes a half step towards the location of that pitch. Does Stossel, and the swing doesn't come, but the strike called, and now a 1 ball, 2 strike count. Now Baker rears back, fires home. This one blooped out of play. And despite Indiana maybe not capitalizing themselves too well in some opportunities, you've seen them kind of be able to just put bat on the ball and live to see another pitch a couple instances here, and I think that's been valuable to them. But a strike 3 called, looking to backwards K. The Steffi's Country Catering backwards K brings Indiana down to its last out, and Olivia Zimmerman, Indiana's last hope to keep things going. So Madison Baker looking for the complete game. She goes up against Zimmerman, the first baseman today for Indiana area. Notice that the Post-Gazette moved Armstrong to number 1 in the WPIAL softball rankings. Shaler going through some things. Injury to their sophomore standout pitcher. Really wide open 5A, and Armstrong with its pedigree sort of getting the nod from certain publications, and one of those being the Post-Gazette. They always ask me my opinion. I think we all know who I think is the top dog in 5A. It's the 3rd consecutive week that a team has been new to that top spot in 5A in the Post-Gazette rankings. And a strike. And it looks like the Indians are down to their final strike here. 3-2 the count. A Ryan Bowser State Farm full count. Runner at second is Cunningham. Baker delivers. This one roped towards Paul. It looked like it was coming in harder than it was, but Paul just takes a few steps back and catches the lazy blooper to end things here. And Armstrong wins again. Your score, Armstrong 12, Indiana 5 here in this non-section, non-classification matchup high on the hill at Armstrong Junior Senior High School and High Top Sports Network. It was a lot of fireworks, a lot of hard hit balls. That's one thing that I think I'll remember about this game. Some balls that had a chance to get out of here, but were just ropes off this chain link fence in the outfield here at Armstrong. And certainly some runners left stranded for Armstrong. You're happy with 12 runs. Any day, I think, when you step on the diamond, you'll take 12 runs. But you don't want to leave ducks on the pond. Every run is valuable come this time of year, and especially here in a couple weeks whenever these Riverhawks are playing some more meaningful softball in the WPIAL playoffs. We're going to look at the box score and determine today's Nicola Ann Photography Player of the Game. I had somebody in mind when I took a quick glance at these numbers, and I think that, it's going to be, with 4 hits and 3 RBIs, the Armstrong senior at the hot corner, Shelby Cloak, your Nicola Ann Photography Player of the Game. Congratulations to Shelby. Thank you to Nicola Ann Photography for your support of the the Player of the Game. Again, repeating the final score of this WPIAL softball clash here on High Top Sports Network. The Armstrong Riverhawks 12, Indiana Indians, not so little anymore, 5. That about wraps it up for me, myself, Joe Rhodes. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your lovely Thursday. I hope you were maybe watching this one outside, maybe on a patio or something, enjoying this beautiful, beautiful weather we have, or maybe have it on in your golf cart at Bird's Foot Golf Club. That's what I'd be doing. But nonetheless, thank you for tuning in. Thank you to our sponsors again, Ryan Bowser State Farm, Steffi's Country Catering, Nicola Ann Photography, and of course, Armstrong Indoor Athletics. And thank you for tuning in. We'll see you here again soon for some more Armstrong softball. Until then, have a great rest of your week, and may no train pass you by. We'll see you.